Loktargar friends, hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another Orc Mode workout. And today is the final week of chains for speed work. We go back to bands next week. Based upon my new calculations, this is probably about 10 pounds too heavy for me to be doing speed work. So I went ahead and did 8 sets because it started feeling relatively slow as I went. So I did 8 triples. And then we'll bring the weight down just a hair, obviously, for the next wave to make sure that I'm getting the speed that I want. Like I said, it wasn't quite as explosive as I want, but I still got a good training effect from it because, again, compensatory acceleration, still a decent amount of weight going there for 8 triples because my lockout on it is, well, 65 pounds of chain. So let's do the math. 290 at the lockout for 8 triples. But down at the bottom, it's probably only 10 to 15 pounds of chain. So like 240 or so at the bottom. And then 290 at the lockout for speed work. And that's probably a hair heavy relative to my maxes for actual dynamic work. So, not a big deal. Again, it's the final week of this wave. And so we use progressive overload on it. But next time, we're just going to keep it constant. And we're just going to run off percentages. Now, some people are like, well, what percentages do you mean? Approximately 75%, right? I'll try to do most of my dynamic work at around 75% intensity, but that's 75% at the bottom, right? So if we use accommodating resistance, we don't count the top. We don't count the top into that calculation because you want it to be heavier at the top. So that's what I'll work with. But the speed work went good, and I really felt my chest big time on it. So much so that when I got to incline, and that's one of the problems I'm running into with the incline benching on days like this where I do speed work, it's that the speed work with the change has been taking so much out of my chest and triceps that doing the incline is almost impossible. Now, I still got it done. I still came in and did like 3 sets, and I think I stopped at 3. I started just feeling heavy. And I mean, it wasn't with a heavy weight. But what does that tell me? Tells me that my chest is becoming more and more just an overall weak link, particularly upper chest. Even though from a size perspective, you would think that my triceps are definitely weak link. And I'm going to continue to prioritize them to a large extent. But again, just looking at my strength on the incline and then how fatigued my chest gets immediately trying to incline after doing other benching, again, that tells me that that's a weak point. That's a weak point, and we need to train weak links. All right, if you got something that's a weakness on your lifts, you need to come in and train it till it's no longer a weakness. And so for me, just like I've been training the triceps with ferocity, what are we going to do? We're going to treat the incline the same way. I'm going to put an enormous priority towards the incline and my triceps. Now, we can make that point, well, Jason, that's a couple of big things that are a priority. Yeah, but that's how I'm going to prioritize my bench press, meaning I'm not giving priority to my other big lifts. This is what I need to do to specialize in my bench for this phase till my bench comes up. I feel like for me, just off the muscle memory and the training and all the work I'm doing, that my squat and deadlift are just going to go up just fine. They're going to go up just fine. I'm not going to have a problem getting back to a 500 plus squat, 600 plus pound deadlift. I don't think that's actually going to be difficult for me. I really don't. It's just going to be about consistency and just kind of staying close to this body weight, not getting fat, not getting fatter, and actually I'll lean down as I recomp. And that's going to be the plan. In fact, I feel like today, looking at the footage and even looking at the mirror and looking at how my belt fit, I feel like I'm a hair leaner. Like my diet's on point. I don't cheat. Again, contrary to the myths, a lot of people say stupid stuff like, oh, what do you eat, cheeseburgers or pizza? It's like, no, guys, I don't eat carbs. So there's no pizza and cheeseburgers on a no-carb diet. Well, do we count broccoli as a carb? Because I eat green vegetables every day. That's my carbs. And I mean, yeah, I do some dairy here and there, but I haven't been doing any even of my Greek yogurt. I'm just doing cheese for a little bit of calcium and dairy cooked onto my meat. But no, I feel like I'm recomping slowly at this point, which is good. That's what we want, because I'm not willing to bulk again. So I could tell the difference in the training today. I do feel like there are days with my upper body stuff, I feel like there's some work capacity issues I run into, but the only way around that's to train it. But here's the upside. I've been doing the extra tricep stuff, right? My triceps no longer feel that fatigued. Meaning I don't feel my triceps now as the upper body pressing volume has gone up. I don't feel my triceps fatigued anymore. because I've been able to increase their work capacity. Now it's my chest that's getting fatigued. So what do? Well, we've got to increase my chest work capacity and continue to work on the tricep. And that's how I'm going to specialize, meaning my extra accessory stuff is going into the efforts on these. I don't need a lot of accessories for my squat and my deadlift. I just don't. What? Hip belt squats and glute ham raises, right? And I don't have to do a lot of sets of those. 3 sets of each of those twice a week, that's adequate. That way I can put my extra focus on this bench. I've got to get my bench up. And I think the incline it's like I've said before, when you look at my incline bench strength, that's a weak link. So if I'm weak at a basic lift like the incline bench, because I really am, for a guy my size, to actually start to feel paused reps with 185 to start to get heavy, because the first couple sets were, and then this last set I was kind of just grinding through them, and then I realized I wasn't pausing. Working with 185, even for higher reps, that's not that good relative to my bench strength, my body weight, my size. Now, granted, I have long arms, and that makes things like an incline really hard. But, I mean, that's very obviously a weak link in my performance. Obviously a weak link. So I'm going to have to train it. I'm going to have to put a lot of focus into it. I'm going to make sure I do the incline every bench day. I may have to start periodizing it. I may have to program it. I might have to start treating it, even though it's an assistance movement, I might need to treat it a little bit like you would program a primary exercise. I mean, for now, I just need to keep hammering volume on it and get work capacity up, get into the groove of doing it. But I'm going to have to start doing stuff to where I increase weight, lower reps, back and forth a bit. I'm going to have to program it a little bit at a certain threshold. So I'm hoping for now just the extra volume in a fatigue state will cause those muscles to hypertrophy, which will make you stronger on the lift too. But again, over time, I'm just going to have to keep working on it. But it's going to be a pretty high priority for me along with my triceps. I felt like I could do the JM presses today, and I did. I'm like, okay, now that my tricep work capacity is up, I don't have to do a smaller fluff exercise. I can do that on my off days. I can do those extensions a little on off days. Now I can come in and just start hitting this JM press again, because I felt like the JM press was giving me good carryover. I feel like this is the most important accessory I've been doing with this conjugate training. It put 10 pounds, I feel like, onto my floor press, right? We did 10 pounds in 2 months on the floor press. I feel like this lift was largely responsible for that. I feel like it gave me the most carryover. So I'm going to keep working it, right? I took it out for 2 weeks, but I'm going to come back and do it now that I've got the work capacity up. That means I can do more lifts like this instead of having to do a smaller tricep fluff exercise because I'm so tired from pressing. So JM press, we're going to keep doing this now for triceps. Then I'm going to have to find a way to get that work capacity up on my incline bench. And it might involve me, even on some of my off days, just taking my little light dumbbells and doing really, really high reps on an incline. I might have to do something like that. Might be what we need to do. I've got to get my chest work capacity up. If I can get my chest and tricep work capacity both up, I can just do more benching volume of different types in general. Get my chest bigger and triceps bigger, stronger, and then my bench will go up, right? As long as the other programming is on point. It's the name of the game, guys. Size equals strength. And, of course, if I stay at maintenance calories and I add pounds of muscle anywhere, it means my body fat will have to go down too. So it's all going to balance out. But today's training was a little hard. It was a little hard, I'm not going to lie. Like, I felt a little fatigued, and it just said I felt sleepy. It's not that I felt tired, like in that regard, like if some people are like, oh, go get your testosterone checked. No, I felt sleepy, like I was yawning all morning. I felt like I should have stayed in bed an extra hour, but I slept like 8 or 9 hours. I felt like I should have stayed in bed another hour. Like I conked out really earlier than I planned last night. Like 30 minutes sooner than I planned on even being asleep. I was out. And then I wanted to sleep in, and I felt sleepy during this workout. So it's just fatigue in that regard. I've been training pretty hard. So this weekend I'll get caught up on rest. Get some good sleep in. And come Monday, we'll hit it heavy and get some heavy PRs in. But the JM presses went good. On the final set, I ended up doing 12. Now, they were getting a little sloppy, but my 5x10 turned into 4x10 and then a 12. That means I'm hoping, I'm going to cross my fingers, I might try to add the microplates. Add those microplates. come Tuesday after my heavy benching. Because again, if we can keep getting stronger on this, that's good. I mean, even if I'm saying, okay, the incline's a weaker link now, doesn't mean I don't keep trying to get stronger on the JM press. I'm just going to incline before doing it. Then I did my 5x12 laterals. I feel like I'm right at where I need to be on these in terms of difficulty. People say, why? Because I could barely do 12 reps on my last set, right? So doing 12s now is really hard with these dumbbells. And you guys see what I mean about I think I'm getting a little bit leaner. I mean, I'm by no means ripped. And yes, I have loose skin. Yes, I have love handles from previously being fat, and they're still going to be fat adhering to that loose skin. And, you know, some people say, well, how do you get rid of loose skin? Well, you got to get it leaner. I mean, until I get rid of that extra fat all on my flank and it's kind of sticking to the loose skin around my waist, it's going to be looser. You can always get loose skin a bit tighter by getting leaner. Again, it's not a super high priority though. I feel like I'll keep getting leaner with what I'm doing with my diet and training now without putting a conscious effort into it, because I'm focused on getting stronger, but I'm trying to get as strong as I can without gaining any fat or any body weight. Well, invariably, especially if your protein and stuff is high enough, that will always lead to some fat loss. Always lead to some fat loss, because you can't gain strength without gaining muscle. And if you're not in a calorie surplus and you're gaining muscle, you're invariably going to lose a little body fat. That's just the name of the game. It does seem to be what's happening, because I do look a little leaner. I mean, it's not dramatic. I'm not, you know, lean by any stretch of the imagination. But I'm getting leaner. I think I'm at a point to where at this point, anyone who's calling me a fat guy, it just sounds like an idiot, though. They really and truly do. They just sound so stupid. To anybody outside of the weird fetish bodybuilding world, you just really, it's ridiculous at this point. So these went good, though. I was happy with them. But it's just extra work for my delts and shoulder girdle, making sure that we keep all that up. Because again, side delt and stuff can be a little hard to grow. And same thing, it gives me a little extra upper trap. And the whole point with that is that keeping a stable shoulder girdle will increase my big three, right? And throwing 5 sets in twice a week on something like those laterals takes literally 10 minutes out of my day, if that, right? 10 minutes out of my day. For those extra benefits, it's worth it. You know, we can't be dogmatic about this stuff. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, you want to be dogmatic about fluff and pump? And sometimes I am, because I think a lot of people don't need it. I think they overuse it. You just don't need it as novice lifters. But at a certain point, as a more advanced lifter, you can't be dogmatic about it. You have to use every tool in the toolbox. I mean, I want to get as strong as possible. I'm really, really, really serious about my goals. I'm driven. I can't leave any stone unturned. Anything that's going to have the potential to give me better strength, lower injury rates, anything I can do to improve myself that's not going to interfere with my recovery, it needs to be on the table, right? It needs to be on the table. Because I do have limitless time. That is the one perk of working from home and working for myself and making my own hours. I do have free time. That is one thing I have. So what? Do a little extra training, get a little extra sleep in, right? It's all good. And then obviously we did our strict curls, which are themselves a competitive lift now. So I'm powerlifting, baby. Even though sets at 10. But you know, you've got a base build. You've got a base build. And I've had a few people say, well, why are you bringing it up at the top? Because that's part of the function of the bicep, guys. The bicep doesn't just move the elbow, right? That shoulder extension, that's part of the function of the bicep. And if you're not doing it, you're not actually training the bicep completely. Just a little bit of a tip there. Just a tip. And yes, I'm trying to lock at the bottom, but when it hits my leg, that's about as far as it goes. And you guys got to remember, my arms don't always lock quite as much as other people's. Long topic with that, but they never have. So you guys notice on dead hang chin-ups and sometimes even maximum deadlifts, you'll see a tiny bit of arm bend for me. That's like 600 pounds won't pull my arm straighter than that. That just is what it is sometimes. But on these, I might be losing a little bit now that I'm looking at the footage on a few of these reps. So I probably am stopping short because when I'm hitting my leg, that's pretty much limiting me just a hair. So I'll try to work on that more. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.